In addition to these global wind patterns that we discussed in our last video, we also have local wind patterns as well. And here, most of the differences are caused by temperature differences. Things getting hotter during the day when it's receiving sunlight, and getting colder at night once all of the land starts releasing the heat. And we're going to discuss three types of these local or small-scale winds: the land and sea breezes, as well as mountain and valley breezes, and then finally the Chinook and Santa Ana winds. But we'll see that the air pressure is also going to determine where we get precipitation on our planet as well. And generally we see that when we have low pressure, we're going to have lots of rainy conditions because that low pressure air is rising, it's cooling off, and eventually that water vapor will condense into precipitation, making a rainy area around low pressure. Whereas around high pressure, we have sinking air. And that sinking air is going to be dry. So high pressure regions generally have very dry conditions in comparison to low pressure areas. So because we have that global circulation pattern and we're going to have low pressure around our equator, this is going to lead to the equator having very rainy conditions, which is why it's tropical, and this is where our rainforests are. It's rainy because it's a low pressure area. But if we look at 30 degrees north or 30 degrees south of the equator, these are high pressure areas. These are called our subtropical deserts because this is where the subtropical high is. This is where most of the deserts on our planet are found because it's created by this dry, sinking, high-pressure air. There are a few other things that determine where precipitation is going to lie on our globe as well. And one of these just deals with the nature of the air itself. How much water vapor can it hold? And remember, this deals with the temperature of the air, where warmer air can hold more water than drier, cooler air. But it also depends on latitude. Again, because of our high and low pressure centers, we're going to get lots of rainfall along our equator. We're also going to get very little rainfall around 30 degrees north and south of the equator because these are our high pressure zones. But the distribution of our continents and oceans are also important. We'll see that a lot of our dry areas are going to happen towards the center of our continent because that moisture can't make it all the way from an ocean to the middle of the continent very easily. But it also depends on the mountain ranges as well. So we can see that when air is being forced over a mountain range, it can cause that area to have high amounts of precipitation. Because as the air is moving up the slopes of the mountain, that air is getting higher in altitude. It's cooling off so it can hold less water vapor, and eventually it's going to form precipitation. So when we look at our mountain ranges, generally they have one dry side and one very wet side.